Shalom. My name is Mikhail McDaniel. I'm here to talk to you about the spiritual health of this nation. This nation is told to be founded on principles that are endowed by God. If this is indeed true, where's the manifestation of this? I'm here to tell you today that there's only one God. And if there is only one God, why do we have a million different practices? Why do we have a million different denominations? Why do we have different ways of worshiping Him, the one true God? Well, it's not because He's a million different gods, but that He's been pulled in a million different directions. And this is because of the satanic and demonic doctrine that has been perpetrated upon the human race, and the human race gladly accepting it. When Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel, the creator of heaven and earth, called Israel out of bondage in Egypt and brought him to Mount Sinai, which is in Arabia, and spoke to them. He spoke to thousands of people, thousands upon thousands of people at one time. And he said, "Ye are my witnesses. You are my witnesses to the one true God." He didn't take a man out in the desert and speak to him on a lonely hill. He called Abraham. He called Yaakov. He called Yitzchak, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He called Abraham first out of the land of Ur of the Chaldees, or the Chaldean region, which is Iran, Iraq, Babylonia, Babylon, all of these different places, which had a practice of studying and worshiping the bodies of heaven, who are but servants like us. God called Abraham out of there to teach him a new way, to teach him who the true and living creator was. If everything was okay in Babylon and Iraq, Iran, why didn't he leave him there? He couldn't reveal himself, his true self, to Abraham in that kind of environment. So why did he ever return to that environment? Why did he ever perpetrate different religions from that area? Well, the truth is that he never returned to that area. He never returned to Iran or Iraq or Babylon. He proceeded to go to Canaan. I mean, in his travels, I mean, he went to Egypt. We read about that. But he inherited Canaan. Canaan was the land that was promised to him. He was told to leave his father's house, his kindred, and his country, to a land that I will show you, Abraham. And Abraham came out, and he inherited the land of Canaan. He said, walk the breadth and the length of it. For on this land, this soil that you trod, he said, I'm going to give it to your descendants. And that began Israel. It was called Canaan at first. But the practice of monotheism came from Yahweh's revelation to Abraham and Noah, who was his grandfather. All other religions, all the practices on the earth at that time were pluralistic, where they worshipped thousands and thousands of gods. Gods for rain, God for riches, God for proliferation. But actually, in actuality, what they were doing was serving demons. Serving demons. It's written by Rav Shaul, Paul, the apostle. He said the things that the Gentiles worship or sacrifice to, they sacrifice unto demons, not unto God. And I wouldn't have you do anything to do with demons. A Gentile is a non-Israelite. Israel wasn't chosen because they were mighty or they were better than anybody else. God chose them because he felt like it. He wanted to. But through Israel, the world was supposed to be taught, or Israel was the model, because he chose the tribe of Levi or Levi to be the priests. But Israel in and of itself was called a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And in the Brit Hadashah, or the New Testament, Yahshua called us a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, a chosen priesthood. This is not out of thin air. This thing wasn't done in a corner. It started with Abraham. But we have all of these different observances and denominations on the earth is nothing but demonic worship, because God is one and he's going to continue to be one. He gave what is known in the original language as the Torah. Now, Torah means instructions on how to live, a divine manual on how to live, how to proliferate, how to live a long and healthy life, and to be redeemed at the end of the world, thus eternal life. He said, there's one way for you, Israel, and for the stranger that sojourners with you. In our day vernacular, it would be Gentile, stranger, nation, heathen. Now, that's not meant to be derogatory. It's used in derogatory terms, but it just means nation. Just means nation. It's one way for you and one way for them. Not one way for you and 1,000 different ways for everyone else. We're free to do what we want. We're free to choose who we want to worship. But who you worship and how you worship defines what you worship. The Elohim of Israel, the Elohim that created the heavens and the earth, gave his ways to a people. Gave his ways to a people that might be their wisdom in the sight of all the nations if this was carried out correctly. The Almighty only wants us to be loyal and to keep his covenant. He said, I'll go before you and I'll be your rear guard. The Messiah also said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. And learn of me. He didn't come to change anything. He didn't come to abolish anything. On the contrary, he came to walk it out in front of us, that we might know how to do it. He said the way is so plain, a fool need not err. He wasn't calling us fools. He was just telling us how simple it was. He didn't come to reinvent the wheel. He said in Metet Matthew 5:17, think not that I'm come to destroy the Torah or the prophets. In Yeshayahu, Isaiah, he talks about how you can recognize those that are sent by the true and the living God, the true and the living Elohim. He said, to the Torah and to the testimony. The same words were said by the Messiah, to the Torah. Think not that I'm come to destroy the Torah or the prophets. It means the same thing. Now, in your translations, it says law and prophets. But that word law is a translation. It's a translation. In Greek. In Greek, the word would be nomos. Just like the word astronomy. Astro means star, and nami means law. Law of the stars. Think not that I'm come to destroy nomos or the prophets. And Isaiah says to the Torah or to the law in your translation, to the Torah and to the testimony. The testimony was given by every prophet that was sent to Israel.